I'm not competing against anyone else except me. And once you have that mentality of it's me versus me, dude, like the only person you're going to disappoint is yourself. A lot of people are scared for failure. And it's like, if you don't fail, you'll never see success. And that's why those people just stay in analysis paralysis for their whole lives.
Elon Musk is usually cited as leading 3 or 4 major companies at any given time. Our guest today makes that look like child's play. Josh Mallen is co-founder of Strategic Global Solutions and HyperHired, and is also currently leading or co-founding roughly 20 businesses across insurance, BPO, funding, recruiting, Amazon FBX, and marketing. Josh doesn't build companies, he builds systems at scale. From taking a Medicare brand from zero to $100,000 in 40 days with zero paid marketing to running multiple 7-figure businesses. He's a true operator's operator. Josh, welcome to the pod. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing good, man. Thanks for that nice intro.
Yeah, no problem. I wrote it all myself. There's zero ChatGPT that supported that.
Yeah,
So,
all good. If
uh,
there isn't, you use what's available to you, you know?
yeah, no, I agree. So the first question I have for you is, at what point does someone come and ask you, hey, man, you have a problem, right? Like running 20 businesses at a time. Like, is it an addiction? Is this more than a hustle?
I think it's more about having the right team. It's not just me, obviously. My main partner, Jimmy, is almost sicker than me, which was a beautiful thing to find when we met each other years and years ago. Yeah, we just have a lot of different skill sets. We have a lot of different ideas. We have a very large team now, mostly due to our recruiting operation called HyperHired. So we have tons and tons of talent. People want opportunity. There's no limits to sales and marketing. So it's like, you can take systems and processes and put them into anything. And, a lot of people do it for other companies. It's like, why not just do it for yourself? Get an operator in there, kind of consult on the high level, bring money to the table, and then you can start many, many, because they're all the same thing at the end of the day.
Very cool. Now I wanna get into that. Um, talk about more the addictive nature of starting a business, leading a business,
Yeah.
leading teams. But do you want to spend some time on any of the companies that you're overseeing? And I would really like to also ask is, like, what is the connective glue, right? Like, what is
Yeah.
that makes it so that this is so operationally focused, where you can shift in and out of all these different companies and still, have some ounce of sanity left.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. The biggest issues for companies is well, obviously, a lot of companies have problems, right? Whether it be an insurance agency. I'm just going to give you an example of how like a lot of this stuff came to be. So we were always in the under 65 space for years and years and years, right? For health insurance. Didn't really have a problem with leads because lead cost was pretty low. We had natural recruitment. Like, I had someone on my team that was just the best recruiter ever. Like, we didn't have to focus on recruiting. I didn't have to focus on leads. I didn't have to focus on live transfers. We get into Medicare over 65 health insurance. If you want to sell just Medicare supplements and only target people turning 65, you're competing against United Healthcare, Aetna, Cigna, like billion-dollar companies are also going after those clients. So you have to figure out a different way. So my problem was I couldn't get enough of the right employees for that business. It was also right after COVID. I couldn't get the marketing in. So I had to figure out, how do I get the marketing in? How do I get the reps in? So HyperHired and Strategics both came from, I built the systems for us. And then we said, hey, like, other people are asking us for help. Let's not just help them. Let's bring them an actual solution, beta test it with them. And then we know how to run Facebook and Instagram and YouTube ads at high scale. I feel like, between me and a couple of my partners on some of these companies, like, we can run Facebook ads for anything. There's zero things we can't run Facebook ads for. We literally run Facebook ads for a steel building company that we have. I don't know anything about steel buildings. I don't need to know anything about steel buildings. I need to get the person that knows about them, find out the information and the pain points of the person that might be buying it, put the right ads and messaging in front of them, get them on sales calls with reps that know how to close deals like that. Problem solved. And then if you need overseas talent, we have our overseas BPO with 1,000 employees there. If we need guys that are specialists in go high level, and they know how to go through and message people and generate leads there. Like we have people that can do that. And then I systematize everything by I make a lot of content. A lot of content. I make a lot of SOP videos. So I make the video once. And as we're speaking right now, I'm probably training 300 reps right now. I could pass away and I'm still training them. So I just leverage technology, you know.
How did you get started? When you were and we can frame this a couple different ways just to,
Yeah.
for the conversations, like what did you want to do when you were young? Like when you grew up, what is it that you wanted to do?
Um, from like the earliest of ages,
Sure. I mean, entertain me, right?
between ages 5 and 7, I told my grandfather, and grandmother I was going to play for the Yankees. I grew up in New York, huge Yankees fans, used to watch the games with, like, multiple people from my family all the time. My mom was in real estate. My dad, still is in construction and excavation, so building houses, doing excavation, doing septic systems, stuff like that. Um, Always a one man band. He has had employees over the years, but not really. He's more of a, as long as I got a nice shiny new truck and I can go out to dinner every weekend if I want, I'm good. So never really tried to blow it up. I just saw a bunch of hustlers growing up, and I wanted to be the first baseman for the New York Yankees between ages 5 and 7, getting in the T-ball, right?
Mhm.
Got older, got into basketball. I wanted to be a professional NBA player. That was like my goal. A little crazy to think about now, but I got very, very badly injured at 14. In a soccer game, someone slide tackled me. My ankle turned all the way around, didn't break, ligaments bad, wheelchair cast, all that stuff for months. I had an entrepreneurial mindset from the jump just because you weren't given anything in my household. My parents would get me whatever we needed, but if you wanted it, you had to go get it yourself. You had to, like my friends would get paid to do chores. My chores were just this is what you do. And sometimes I would go on the job site with my dad and he would give me, at the time it was a lot to pay a 10-year-old like $10 an hour.
Yeah.
Um, but I would go and work for him. I would learn how to make money and then I would buy everything I wanted, which was video games. Always video games. And at like 8 years old, to 12 years old, I had tons and tons of side hustles. Me and my friend Chris sold lemonade and iced tea right on the road. Um, I would sell lollipops. So people in school or the school selling them for $1.50, I'd get them for 50 cents, sell them for $1, optimized by only selling the flavors that people want. And before you knew it, I was literally selling like 100 of them a day. So I'm making $50 a day at like 8, 9 years old, which was all the money in the world to me. That was crazy. At 12 years old, I learned about eBay. One of my friends, his dad worked at IBM, which is headquartered where I grew up or was headquartered at the time. He gets me on eBay. I am obsessed with sports. So I see that there's a card shop near us that's selling cards. I look up what they're selling for on eBay. I see that they're selling for like 200 to 300% higher online. So I start flipping cards like that. And then just tons of side hustles on eBay and stuff like that. Then I went to school and did what everyone told me to do, which was go to school, do what they say to do. I went into the corporate world. I just did not like it. And I had a little bit I went to school in Las Vegas. I worked at the front desk at Caesar's Palace and I was upselling rooms. So like we weren't upselling rooms, we were checking people in. That's your job. It was kind of part of my internship at the hotel administration college. But I saw that there was people making a lot of money upselling these rooms. And I'm like, dude, I've always been a hustler. I just never really knew what I could sell or what opportunity would really be the thing that would change my life. And I started seeing like I'm making like more than my managers. My managers are managing me. They have to work 60, 70 hours a week. I get to work 20 to 30 hours a week and I'm making more than them. And I wanted to get into sales. I couldn't find a sales opportunity in Las Vegas or no one would give me one or they'd say, "Oh, you need experience. You can't get hired." So just went the corporate route and did it for like 5 or 6 more years and then got completely burned out of working in hotels. Met a guy at a poker table. He said, "Hey, I got a big insurance operation in Florida. You'd be perfect. I'm willing to bet everything on you." And he was my friend Roger's cousin. And four of us moved down to Florida For that opportunity, it didn't work out. I met someone selling health insurance who is still one of my best friends and business partners to this day. And we took that experience getting in the call centers, learning how to sell over the phone, naturally learning marketing, lead generation. And then, the world is your oyster once you get on YouTube. So high ticket offers, Amazon FBA offers that were doing 300K a month. Just a lot of stuff, sourcing products from China, going to the Philippines multiple times. I've owned a shrimp farm. um, just everything. I just like opportunity, and I like taking something and making it, taking nothing and making it something. That's cool. I think if I won $1 billion lottery right now, I'd still come into work tomorrow. Uh,
Yeah.
I just love it.
I mean, well, thank you. Thank you for that story. Couple of questions kind of
Uh,
came up from that is like when you look back at, when you were growing up, like what do you think those side hustles like taught you?
they taught me that you can be whoever you want to be.
Yeah.
I see
Like,
so many people that come in for interviews with me, or they're employees of mine, or they're just friends I grew up with that, ask me for advice, and they're like, I just want to be financially free. I'm like, then go do it. Like, you have the internet, man. Like, with the internet, you tell yourself how much of a check you want to write yourself. It's all there, you know.
yeah, totally. And how did you like when you're looking back at that? I mean, obviously, a huge entrepreneur spirit at such a young age.
Yeah.
Like, how did you come up with the concepts of your side hustles? Is it talking with some friends and it's like, oh, wow, like, how can we monetize this and make some money off of it? Right. Like, I've heard
Yeah.
multiple stories of, the lemonade stand, the eBay and selling CDs and mixtapes.
Yeah.
But really, like, because obviously that mentality, you've kept that mentality all the way now as an adult, right? Where you're always, you have 20 different businesses that you're working on at a given time. So
Right.
you're always kind of tinkering with the system and the process to find out like how do we, squeeze more blood out of this turnip, so to
Yeah.
speak.
I I don't know. I've always thought pretty logically. Like, if say you're 100 pounds overweight and you want to lose the weight, you know what to do. Start eating salads, stop eating ice cream. You'll probably lose a lot of weight. You know what I mean? It's very simple. I saw a lot of people, either some members of my family, some people, like my dad had some like laborers that I would see that would just show up to work completely pissed drunk,
Yeah.
stuff like that. I'm just like, if I don't want to end up like them, I should not do what they do. I should look at the guys that are doing really well, just do what they do. They dress presentable. They don't ever like look sloppy. They are a person of integrity. Like, if they say they're going to call you back, they call you back. Things like that. But also, I started to realize the biggest, the people that make the most money solve the most problems and the biggest problems. And that whole mentality I don't know, man. Like, it's like, if you don't have enough money, you could stay not having enough money, or you can figure it out. And then you just look around for opportunities, and also just have a burning desire to change that problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would say, looking back, I was a very weird kid. I had a ton of friends. I played sports. The town that I grew up in, which is like an hour north of New York City, like, there's city sports leagues. It was the same kids every year. A lot of them grew up in the same neighborhood as me. And I would always have a ton of friends, but I always loved being by myself, playing with my Legos, playing basketball in my driveway, like just me practicing. And I think that kind of gave me a mindset of, don't let other, like, just go as fast as you want to go. A lot of people hang out with groups of friends when they're growing up, and it's like, well, all these guys want to do this. I'm kind of just going to blend in with it, right? I never wanted to ever be a person that blended in. I'm going to set the standard for me. I'm not competing against anyone else except me. And once you have that mentality of it's me versus me, dude, like, the only person you're going to disappoint is yourself.
Yeah.
So that's kind of
Um,
how I think now. It's like, have to I don't have to come into work every single day if I don't want to right now, but I don't know any other way. Like, it's been like this since I was like 8, So plus, it's like, there's so much cool shit going on right now. Like, I'm building AI agents, and I'm learning how to build web app dashboards, and I'm a vibe coder all of a sudden. Like it's too cool to sit back, man.
Yeah, that's fair. So when you moved out to Florida, you said that you had to learn to sell over the phone.
Yeah,
A couple of questions kind of come up from that is one, what is the biggest difference between selling in person and then selling over the phone? And the follow up question to that as well is like, how did you learn to sell on the phone?
sure. Difference of selling over the phone and selling in person is your tonality matters way more. You can't look at body language. Like when
Yeah.
I lived in Las Vegas and I was going to school there, like I got very, very big into poker. I was a highly profitable poker player. I didn't make tons of money because I would usually lose it on the way out at the slot machines or the tables. But I was making a lot, like hundreds of thousands of dollars a year I was making playing poker. And that whole ecosystem just doesn't work when you're in your early 20s. But reading people is definitely a skill set of poker. So like I took that skill set and brought it to when I worked at the front desk and I was selling people. You could see their body language, right? There's things that you can use. It's like there's no let me call my wife. Let me talk about it with my wife. Your wife's standing right here and she wants the nicer room. So I'm going to sell you with your wife watching you, and I can like use body language to tell. It's like, am I pushing too hard? Do I push a little bit more? Do I elicit a little bit more pain? What do I do? On the phone, it's not like that. You don't know if the wife's sitting right next to her, right next to the guy. Your tonality means everything. Instead of making it awkward and walking away from an in-person interaction, they can just hit the red button and get off your phone right there. So there's a couple differences there. I would say the biggest difference of selling over the phone is it's way more efficient. I can get sales done all across the world right now if I wanted to. Um, how did I learn phone sales? I just made tons of mistakes. Anything I go into, I know I'm going to mess up. I just say I'm going to do it fast. Anytime you learn a new skill, you're going to mess up at first. A lot of people are scared for failure, and it's like if you don't fail, you'll never see success, and that's why those people just stay in analysis paralysis for the whole lives. It's crazy.
What would you pin up as like the biggest mistake that you've made, from, phone sales?
Biggest mistake I made in phone sales was probably when I got to a certain point. I thought I knew more than I did. What I mean by that is, like a lot of people get this ego of like, oh, I'm going to lean back on the sales calls and I'm going to prejudge every single person that comes across my phone. And, um, they're just going to judge people. Like, where at the end of the day, like, the way you sell things is by asking questions, making sure that this person is in alignment with the service product, with the service or solution that this thing that you're selling serves. Make sure they're in alignment with that. And then once that they're in alignment with that, you just make it make sense financially. A lot of times people, I would say another thing is I firmly didn't understand the difference of price versus value. Like most buyers, they don't understand the difference of that. I know someone that can do it cheaper. Well, they're not going to solve your problem. So that's price versus value. I didn't firmly understand that as a sales agent. And then I would also say just rep after rep after rep. I worked harder than anyone that was in any of those offices because I was willing to work longer. I was willing to ask questions. If I was struggling, I would demand to get help right away. Again, challenging myself. It's like if there's people in here making $5,000 to $6,000 a week, I'm not going to be the guy not making that because why would you do that? Doesn't make sense, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Um, I wish I can get my employees to understand that, like all of them, because we would have like a Microsoft level valuation right now. But it takes people time sometimes.
You mentioned like the way you sell is just by asking questions.
Uh-huh.
Like how do you look at it from like what types of key questions do you ask or do you train your team on to ask
Yeah,
to actually help them get to a yes or a no, right? Because it's not
sure.
always getting to a yes. In some cases getting to a no, so you can get off the phone and move on to the next lead.
Yeah,
But what are some of those kind of questions that you prep your team on to say, hey, here's how you need to think through these questions to see if this is a good fit?
yeah. Give me an example. What are we selling?
We're selling recruitment services.
Perfect. So I'll start off with I had to ask you that question because there is no such thing as generic in sales. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're a call center owner. You have a floor of 15 desks. and I'll start asking you questions. You know.
Okay, let's do it.
All right. So first things first. What type of business are you in? You're in.
We do canvassing. We do door-to-door canvassing. Some of our key customers are, like home remodeling, roof,
Okay.
solar. Those are
Hmm.
some of the things that we see a lot of traction with.
Got it. So we're trying to sell you on needing more sales reps, right?
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. So you're in the home remodeling. You're looking to build a door to door team. How many reps do you have on your team right now?
Currently we have 10,
10. Perfect. And what is the most you've ever had?
25.
25. Cool. Awesome. So you're at 10. You've been the highest at 25. Is there any reason you're not at 25 right now?
So we had to take a step back over the last year, with solar, with a lot of the tariffs that came in that obviously put a damper on some of our sales.
Got it.
But now that's kind of leveling out. We're kind of adjusting to the new norm, and
Mhm.
now we're kind of at the spot where we want to regrow the sales team.
Got it. Awesome. And obviously, you know that, without the sales team, there's like no revenue.
Correct. Yeah,
All right.
that's what we're seeing.
Cool. How long have you guys thought about growing the sales team from 10 to call it 20 to 30 reps?
Probably the last 6 months.
Okay. Awesome. So about 6 months you've been thinking about it. Have you done the recruiting on your own?
We tried, but we just weren't seeing the talent that we wanted or expected.
Okay. Can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
Do you think that the talent's out there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Are you sure of it?
I mean, you can only be so sure, right? I mean, it's right now we're relying on like ZipRecruiter and a couple of other platforms, and it's essentially all like inbound type of things versus trying to go out and poach from competitors.
Yeah.
And I think that if we put more time and energy in place to actually poach from competitors, we would actually get the talent that we needed.
So here's the cool thing. When we're recruiting for people, we're not looking for experience, especially for door to door, because I would argue that experience is not a big, like a higher level attribute than being hungry, motivated, and coachable. So what we want to do is we don't want you to poach other people. That would be immoral. And, you would start fires that you shouldn't even need to be putting out. But if people have experience at another company, they're going to come into your company and they're going to say, well, this is how we do it this way. And this is how we do it this way. And also, if they're leaving another company, it means that they're not making a lot of money there. Would you agree?
I mean, yeah, because you have to pay them more, right?
Well, yeah, you'd have to pay them more, or they're at a place where they're not making enough money and they're just, whatever the case is. If you
Yeah.
want to poach, have at it. But what I would say is every single time that you're on Indeed or ZipRecruiter or LinkedIn and you're looking for a rep, you're taking time away from grooming your current sales reps and focusing on more, uh, you know, placements and or territories, right? You want the most amount of reps out in the most amount of territories, getting you the most amount of jobs. So, how much have you dedicated time wise when you were actually doing it? Like, how many hours?
In terms of actual recruitment,
Yeah, when you were doing the recruiting, how many hours were you spending a week?
maybe like 5, maybe like an
Maybe like,
hour a day. Yeah, like an hour a day or so.
okay, so the issue really is just you don't have the time to do it.
Yeah, correct.
Got it. And how much revenue did the business do last year?
Let's say it was like 3 million.
3 million. So you're doing about $300,000 revenue per sales rep.
Yeah,
Got it. So by those numbers, every single additional sales rep that we bring in would bring you another $300,000, correct?
yeah. So do you use that? So this is a great question. And do you use that to help price in your, like, how do you price in the value that you add to,
Mhm.
this need that the customer has?
Yeah, this is not how we would walk through, like, learn a little bit more, like, if they're a lead, like, that we already have so much of their information, because they had to go through our funnel. They have to fill out, like, a 15-page questionnaire. If they don't have the answers we're looking for, we disqualify them. So, like, we get a lot of traffic to that funnel just because, once you see your meta numbers, if you have a 5x ROAS, it means for every dollar you spend, you get $5 back. Like, we're not slowing down, we're speeding
Yeah.
up. You know what I mean? But just asking questions like that, that's kind of like that these questions would kind of be more geared towards like when they're like, yeah, like we're just kind of looking around for a solution. You start asking pain questions. How long you been looking for?
Mhm.
About 6 months. Okay, well, like, are you doing it on your own right now? Which lets me then lead into, how come you didn't make a decision 6 months ago if we know that every single rep is worth 300K? Do you just not like money?
Yeah,
You know?
totally. And then that opens the door for price versus value, right? Like
Exactly.
yeah. So that's amazing. So when you kind of look at this, your career on this, like this is obviously a great scenario that we just played out.
Uh-huh.
When did it really start like the dots connecting? Right? Like when you started getting wins from these types of conversations and it's like, "Oh yeah, now I can actually really scale this in a
Mhm.
way that it's not, I'm on the edge of my seat."
Yeah, yeah. So, I was a sales rep for 4.5 years from like 2011, 2012 to 2016. In 2016, we started our first health insurance brokerage. I was there for 3 years in the day to day, in the trenches, doing everything, running the sales floor, learning about how to generate, how to run leads, how to deal with lead providers and stuff like that. The biggest shift for me sales wise came from at that time. My daughter was born in 2017. So from 2016 into 2017, I'm stuck at the house, have to make sure that like if my girl at the time needed anything, I'm there to, you have to stay home. Can't go anywhere. So I'm like, I love e-commerce. Let me start learning about Amazon FBA. So I started building it up, had a couple bumps in the road, couple failures, and then it smashed. Like within like 6 months, I'm doing 100K a month revenue, and it just kept growing from there. People started asking me for help with it, and I said, I've always wanted to learn Facebook ads. I never had an offer to run them on. I tried the affiliate route, lost a ton of money, lost a ton of sleep, always chasing the next shiny object like a lot of people because they just don't know what to sell. I was like, this is what I can sell. I know this shit. I have the numbers to back it up. I did my market analysis. All the guys that are marketing their Amazon course, like to say I ran a course is like disrespectful to me because most of those guys that sell courses, they've never done it. Right. Everyone that was selling an Amazon course back then wasn't actually selling on Amazon, would show you their Lamborghini. I don't have, nor will ever have a Lamborghini. They're showing you their rented mansion and all this, saying, I can get you to make this kind of money and change your life. And
It's
I'm
like
just sitting there like,
classic Andrew Tate type scenarios.
yeah. And I made my first ad was I drove my Honda Civic. Like I still drove a Honda Civic. I didn't care. I bought it in cash. My Honda Civic, I drove it up. I said, hey, I might not have the craziest car ever, but this is my actual Amazon account and no one is showing their actual numbers. Why do you think that
Oh.
is?
Mm.
And then I started getting a ton of traffic. I paid a lot of people for high level mentorship. My buddy Tanner, I paid him, $15,000. There's a guy named Dan Henry. I paid him like $60,000 to learn how to build the proper funnels and stuff like that. And then I started learning high ticket sales where you're getting someone on the phone and in 1 hour, you're collecting $15,000 from them. And then it became higher numbers. And I was like, all right, and this is where the real sales psychology comes into it. You know, that is where the dots started connecting because not only was I having to get on high ticket sales calls, I was having to generate the leads from scratch, from sitting behind a camera, making content, pushing people into funnels, generating leads, learning how all the technologies plug together. This was all foreign to me. But I said, there is zero chance that I'm going to get left behind when I see people younger than me doing 1 million, 2 million, $3 million a month. There's zero chance I'm going to get left behind. I didn't hit those numbers. Um, but definitely did really well. And the thing is, it's like it's not even about the numbers. You just want to see it's like, can I do it? And I think once you have that mentality, you make more money than you thought you were going to make because you're not focused on the money. You're
Yeah.
focused on
I
being
mean,
great.
I also kind of feel it's like, based on this conversation, it's the numbers aren't necessarily real in a sense. It's more like the competition to it. Like,
Yeah.
based on the stories that you told of like, baseball, basketball, soccer, there's a competitive edge that drives you on some of these things. And I think the
Oh
numbers
yeah.
are it's just more the scoreboard of like, am I winning or losing on this? Not
Yes.
necessarily is the, you know, how big the numbers are per se. It's really like
Yes.
how is it helping me drive the competitive edge?
Yes. That's what business is to me. Now keep in mind that is a gift and a curse.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
like when it's a Friday night and you told your girlfriend, "Be ready by 8:30 because I'm gonna be home. It takes me 5 minutes to get a shower and get ready." And she's ready at 8:30, and you're like, "Hold on, I gotta take one more phone call." Like, I don't have to take the phone call, but internally, I need to take the phone call because I have a FOMO of being left behind the competition. But really, the competition is me because, it's like you're competing against yourself at the end of the day. It's just, I don't know. I call it obsession. When you're obsessed with something, I know people that are obsessed with drugs. So it's
Mhm.
like, is this a bad obsession, a good obsession? I don't know, but it's a lot better than the alternative, you know?
So why sales, right? So, you were at the Win, you got into,
Yeah.
phone sales, like why was it sales that actually drove you in a lot of these different areas?
You are rewarded directly for your efforts.
Yeah.
When I worked, the last job I had was at the VIP concierge department at the Win in Vegas. So great lifestyle. You're getting like crazy benefits. Like I could go to any restaurant, any nightclub, any limousine service, any cool event for free whenever I wanted. They would call me saying, please come into Tao tonight for a 12-person table and 3 bottles upstairs. Like, please come in. Wouldn't let us tip or anything. But I'm focused on winning. I'm not focused on partying. I started thinking to myself, I'm like, yeah, we're going out and partying every night. I'm like, what are we celebrating? Like, no one here is winning in life. What are we celebrating? And I just wasn't being rewarded for my efforts. I was working harder than the guy next to me. We get the same paycheck. I was like, this doesn't make any, like, how does this make any sense? And, the competitive spirit, it's like there is no competition in that. I didn't know what to do. I just was like, I need a job to pay my bills. I don't really know what to do. I was also playing poker on the side and making more from that. That gave me the competitive spirit. But after a while, like that, the ebbs and flows of that, plus, loving to like win money and like take it into the normal casino, that will really mess with your head. So I got offered a sales job. I was like, I have nothing to lose. And in fact, I'm willing to bet on myself. So moved cross country. I just bought a brand new house like a year and a half before, got rid of it, moved to Florida, and the opportunity I came for wasn't even like what I thought it was. And then I met someone else at a poker table that kind of was like, "Yeah, man, like I'm making like really, really good money here. You should definitely come by." And then it just started opening my like I got opened up to a new sector of people. I wasn't around people working in the hospitality industry only anymore. I was now around people that are like, I remember on my very first day, my buddy Gabe was like, "Yo, I'm gonna start buying leads and working on myself on the weekend." I'm like, "What's a lead?" I didn't know what a lead was. I swear to God, I did not know what a lead was. And he's like, "Yeah, I got this guy. I can buy him for like $2. We can probably convert, 1 out of 100 to a $200 CPA. The plan pays out 800." I'm like, "What are you talking about, dude?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You'd make $600 profit every single time you sold it." And like, this was on my first day. And I was like, "Oh my God, this is what I've always wanted." This is like, these people, like, they get it. Like, they want to make, like, it was like my side hustling 12-year-old. It's like now I'm in a room of like 50 of these guys.
Mm,
Eventually it was 50. It was like not that much when I first started. It was a startup, but it was just a bunch of guys that were just all about getting to the money. And,
yeah, and then at that point, it's like iron sharpens iron, right? Where it's
oh, yeah.
you get all those people in the room that have, like, the same mindset, the same background, like, the same goal, and then it catches fire.
Yeah. At the time, I never met someone my age that was like doing $1 million a month before. And I was like, what does it feel like? And he's like, I don't know. I'll let you know when I'm making two. And like, I'm like, that is the mindset. I'm like, the number he just said doesn't matter. The fact of like, he could probably retire right now, but he's not. He's searching for more. I'm like, this is who I want to be around. So once
Yeah.
I got around it, I was just like, yeah, this is for me, man. And then I started realizing, I'm like, this experience that I'm having could be made way better. And if no one else is going to do it, I'm going to do it. And then when we started our first office, we weren't given an advantage at all. It was like, we put $60,000 total into it. We had like really shitty cubicles and used computers, and like we didn't really have much to start it up with, but we're just going to make the place fun. It doesn't matter if we have brand new computers. It matters if people like coming into work,
Mhm.
like us, trust us, and know that we can progress them in their life a lot faster than anyone else can. And that mentality never left.
So it's definitely a lot of hard work. What would you say the biggest perks are? Like, within your role, within the category that you're serving in, the clientele that you service, like, what would you say is, and you mentioned earlier own a shrimp farm, you've gone to, international travel.
Yeah.
There's obviously money. What would you say is the biggest perk of the industry that you're running in?
Most companies like a lot of these like I learned Facebook ads because I tried out people that say, "I'll run your Facebook ads for you, and if it doesn't work, you don't pay." It never works. Like any of the any of those offers that say that, it never works. There's a reason I don't run Facebook ads for other people. It's because it's not a good use of my time. If you
Yeah.
actually know how to run Facebook ads, you'd be doing it. So like one of the biggest perks is I know that most of the offers out there on the internet are complete dog water. They don't help people. And I know that our services actually do. And we're really, really good at it because we had to get good at it for our own companies or else there was no company. If we didn't figure out the recruiting, none of this is going down. If we didn't figure out the lead generation, none of this is going down. I know it works. I do it right now. So like when we sell the services that we use and everything's vertically integrated from the recruiting to the marketing to the management to the AI agents that I have managing a lot of statistics, our BPO, it's all vertically integrated. So like I know it works. So when we install it into a company, the only way it wouldn't work is if they don't want it to work, meaning like like they're not doing the basic like recruiting. You have to tell me if you hired the person or if they showed up, or you have to tell me what's happening. Like this position's in Convoso. You have to tell the system what's happening so it can do the actions past that. Um, or, or the operators on my side are not doing what they need to be doing. And at that point, we fix it.
What would you say, within your current position, like what do you enjoy the most about it? Right? Like what do you
Um,
think is the largest like added benefit that maybe you weren't expecting, that's a part of the job that it's like, oh, that's kind of a cool thing
yeah.
that most
Uh,
industries don't have access to?
I know most people would probably be like, "Oh, the money's nice." I mean, the money obviously the money's nice, but as far you're, I'm actually changing people's lives.
Mhm.
I feel like it, you know what I mean? Like, companies that don't have the products that we offer, right, would go out of business, and who knows where their life would be. My sales reps, we give them what I feel is the best marketing in their industry. We give them the best training. We give them the best opportunity. A lot of my guys, not I can't say a lot. Some of my guys that have been with me for years, when we start another company, if they've been with us and they're going to add tremendous value to an entity, they get a piece of the pie. Like they get some of the equity. They don't get it. They got to buy into it, but same mentality. Like nothing was given to us. Like you got to buy into it. But like helping a lot of people, man. There's a lot of guys on my team that make way, way more money than they would make anywhere else. And I know who benefits from it. It's not just them. It's their wives. Their wives get to stay home with their kids. Their family was in debt, and now like one of them like helped his mother pay off her house. Like how many people is this impacting? My guys in the Philippines, my general manager in the Philippines, when I first found him, he was making like $120 a week. Now he makes like $3,500 a week in the Philippines.
That's crazy.
It's like $200,000 a week here.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. What would you say is, kind of the hardest part of the job? Like, this is like kind of the grind. You gotta get through to kind of see the bigger realization of the opportunity.
You have to see it when it doesn't exist. When we
Yeah.
first started our Medicare insurance agency, like everyone literally told me, like, stop throwing money into this thing. Like you're just chasing bad money with good money. Um, you can go back to, I kind of took my foot off the gas and sold off a couple of my Amazon FBA brands. I just got out of doing the e-commerce thing and went all in on this, and it was like failing badly. Almost 99% of the reason was I had some of the wrong people with me at the start, lazy, didn't want to work, just would make tons of excuses. You can't have people like that on your team if you want to win, especially when it's like you and just them. There's not another like A player on the team to help. Um,
And
and
what
then
changed on that? So that was, that's a, some would say that's, a failure from a short-term
oh,
perspective, but
yeah,
something changed where you're able to turn it around. What was that?
got the right partner in.
Right
My
partner.
partner Jimmy is literally like an absolute. When I say monster, I mean like people should not get that word unless they're his level. Like he's a monster. Like me and him are like yin and yang. Sales and marketing is like my thing. Coming up with systems, coming up with off the wall ideas at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's what I do. Dealing with legal issues, dealing with payroll, dealing with very high level CEO oversight and planning and organizing. That's like what he's best at. So no one should be great at everything. It's impossible, man. Michael Jordan was great at playing basketball. If you told him, "Hey, man, you also got to serve the hot dogs and the beer, and you have to be friendly and smile," like he couldn't do that. You don't have to be great at everything, you know. And that was
You
the
could
thing that
also
really
say he
changed
wasn't.
it.
You could also say he wasn't so good at baseball.
Yes, exactly, and that's okay. I tried to do everything on my own for every business, and the problem was the first big business with big revenue that I ever had on my own was my Amazon business. I was doing 310 a month revenue with just me, and I had like 1 or 2 VAs, and everything else was outsourced, like my customs guy, my, overseas China, fulfillment guy, my factories. I can handle it all from my cell phone. I don't need employees because when it goes to Amazon, it gets picked, packed, and shipped by them. I
Mhm.
don't touch the products, you know? So I didn't need employees. And then I got back into insurance where I had a business with a bunch of partners and I'm like, all right, cool. Like I got some help here. Now I have all this marketing knowledge. I can do anything. Let's get it done. And we were just sinking hundreds of thousands of dollars a month at one point, and it was just like a black hole, just sucking up all the money and nothing's happening. Carrier issues are happening. It was also a string of bad luck with carriers, but at the end of the day, everything's a learning experience, and from solving problems in that business is how a lot of these companies were born. So it's not the worst thing ever, but I mean, you have to be able to go through the pain, man. A lot of people
Yeah.
would have given up. They just, I can't spend any more money. Like I'm going to go broke. Okay, well, being an entrepreneur means sometimes you have to put it on the line, man.
So you mentioned that systems are kind of your thing. Um, you're a customer of Convoso.
Yep.
Would love to talk about the systems that you've developed and, how you're using Convoso, to your advantage to help kind of fuel a lot of this.
Yeah. So I believe in the fronter to closer model. I believe that sales agents should not make outbound dials, or at least if they're making outbound dials, they should only be making it to very high intent opt in leads. And then aged leads or other types of leads, you have your team in the Philippines, call them, qualify them on one campaign, transferring calls over to your USA based sales rep campaign. And just like you said, systems is a big thing for me. Systems is everything. Look at the highways. That's one big system, right? Gas stations, the logistics of getting gas to the gas station from overseas to refine it. That's one giant system, and it allows you to build one gas station and then build 5,000 more. Same thing with McDonald's. Same thing with anything that's a franchise or multi location model. So I started looking at that. I started like doing. I've always been huge into learning about franchising. When I went to UNLV, one of my professors was one of those guys that like owned a Wendy's, had a McDonald's, had a Dunkin' Donuts, like had a couple other businesses, and he took me to the franchise expo, and I was like super enthused with it, but I didn't have any money, so it's like, what are you gonna do?
Mhm.
I tried getting an investor for one of those frozen yogurt places where you put all the toppings and they weigh it and stuff like that. But
My wife loves those places.
dude, I we used to go all the time too, and I was just like, I don't know, it was like $400,000. You have to buy tons of those ice cream makers, and I was just like, yeah, I don't know, it's not for me.
Yeah.
Um, but I studied the franchises, and I said if they can do it, they prove concept at one location, and then they roll it out to every other location. I'm like, why can't I learn the dialer, the Convoso dialer, learn it in and out, know how to produce calls and generate revenue from it. And then when someone, first person asks, hey, can you help me build my dialer? I'm going to start using Convoso. Yeah, no problem. This is how we do it. Then, oh, like you don't have enough reps to dial your leads. Let's get you with strategics. We'll get you 15 reps on your outbound campaign. They will have a manager. You don't have to manage anything. We'll run the settings there. You just have to have your reps just accepting calls like just another live transfer campaign,
Mm.
except you choose what leads go in.
That's great. And how's that working? How is Convoso working for you now?
Great. I mean, we have probably 20 different accounts.
And you don't need to be shy. You can like talk it up a little bit.
No,
So
it's good. I mean, we're able to generate thousands and thousands of live inbound transfers when I first started, I didn't even know what a lead was. So like you have to have the right tools. You could be the best builder of houses and I say, "Hey, I'm going to let you build the house, but I'm not going to give you the hammer. So figure it out." And you're sitting there with your palm trying. you need the right tools.
Yeah.
Convoso definitely in terms of dialers, if I knew of a better one, I probably wouldn't be using this. I'd be using that, So I think Convoso is definitely legit.
This has been a great call,
Yeah.
great pod. I really appreciate your time. In closing, I just have, really one final, question is, what is the one piece of advice for either someone that's wanting to get involved more in sales, wanting to kind of follow in your footsteps? What is the one piece of advice that you could give them?
Always believe in yourself. You can do so much more than you think you can do. To follow up on that, always believe in yourself and be resourceful. There are zero things that you can't learn in this day of age. So like a lot of people are like, oh, like this AI stuff is a young man's game. I'm 42 years old. I have slept like 2 to 3 hours every night for the last like 5 nights because I've been obsessed with learning Claude code, how to build automated AI agents that generate Facebook ad creatives for me, build web apps that literally have like a new scoreboard. I'm actually pulling the Convoso API into something that I'm using for AI that's going to have like a space station type scoreboard with real time stats and who's burning the most calls and who's taking the least calls amount, where's their average call time, like this rep average call time 5 minutes, this rep 10 minutes in real time every 15 to 20 seconds. There is no limit to what you can do, but like, how did I figure this stuff out? I went on to Claude and I typed in, I need to learn how to make a better scoreboard system. What should I do? Oh, you should get Claude code. You should do this. Then I go on Instagram, start following people that are talking about it. Start talking with a bunch of them. They have programs. Paid one guy like $1,000. Hey, I want you to get on 3 Zoom calls. I'll pay you $333 a Zoom call. You're going to teach me what I need to know. Boom, done. For $1,000, I have a system that can make millions. Where's the excuses coming from out of these, like, especially young kids that are like, I'm just getting out of school. So, like, I don't really have a much skill set. If you know how to use a keyboard, you have all the skill sets in the world. They're right there on AI. So, like, believe in yourself, be resourceful, and like if you're not using AI, you are absolutely just allergic to money.
Josh, this is great. I really appreciate the time.
Yeah,
It's been great kind of chatting with you, and hopefully, we can follow up and spend some more time together in the future and
anytime.
kind of pick your brain on this stuff. So
Yep,
awesome.
I love
Well,
it.
thank you all for joining in this pod on this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and be on the lookout for some new episodes coming out.